What's up, everybody, and welcome back once again to the Don't Shoot Disc Golf podcast. My name is Harry Messenger, and I am your host, coming to you live from my studio in South Manchester. And I want to give a massive thanks to our sponsors of the show, Launch Disc Golf, and of course London Disc Golf Community, for sponsoring the YouTube stream. Check out their new website. And Merry Christmas, everybody. I am so excited to be bringing you our first and not final Christmas episode. So thanks for joining us. We're going to go back to terrible royalty-free Christmas music. And I'm really excited to have somebody special with me to share this Christmas episode with me tonight. So I'd like to welcome from the Disc Golf UK Digital Green Room, my guest tonight, Mr. Jamie Thomas. Jamie, hello.
Hey. Good to be back.
Great
Season's
to see
greetings.
you back on the show. And welcome to Don't Shoot's Christmas episode. I hope you like the lights and the snow sparkles.
This is so festive. You have outdone me for sure. I got some green. I didn't have any really good red, but I did bring a festive beverage as you requested.
Oh yes, I've got mine here too.
And I promised you it would be a good one. This is my favorite beer name ever.
Oh, what we got?
See if we can. Oh no, I got a little
You got some snow.
snowflake.
There we go. We got floating in a most peculiar haze. I like that.
Come on.
Oh yeah.
Come on. Best beer name ever. So that's got the red. I got the red, I got the green, got
There
the
we
beer,
go.
we're ready to go.
We've fulfilled it. We've fulfilled it. Let's go to a slightly less snow-covered scene. I will turn Jingle Bells down in my own ears if I can. I'm being jingled up, but yeah, welcome to the show, Jamie. Thanks for joining me, and I want to say hey to everyone in chat. Thanks for showing up early, everybody, and coming to see us on this final show of the year, because we're not doing one next week because it'll be Christmas Eve. The year after will be New Year's Eve, and people will be with family and stuff, hopefully, or on family Zoom calls, more likely, knowing 2020. But yeah, thanks for coming, everybody. We've got Shane and Ollie. Hi guys, welcome to the show. I got Jamie Matthews, of course. Welcome, Jamie. Dale, Ben, and Carol, and Jessica, and Charlie, and Mark, and Andrew. So many people here already. Beautiful to see so many friendly faces. And hello to all of you future people watching the YouTube video later down the line.
Cheers, everybody. Happy
Yeah.
holidays.
I didn't say what I'm drinking. I've got mulled wine. You can probably see it. I was telling Jamie, for anyone who doesn't know, mulled wine is when you make wine hot and add cinnamon and cloves and spices and other things. So this is my second time ever drinking mulled wine, and it's 11%, and I've got a big mug of it, which is about half a bottle. So let's see how that goes.
We're gonna have a fun show today. That's what it sounds like.
We do. I brought my festive mince pies. I probably won't eat these during the show because you guys don't want to hear me crunching away on mince pies. But we've got the festive get up. You know, I thought I'd make a little bit of an effort this year. So
I appreciate it. From long distance over the Zoom call, I appreciate it. Just want you to know that.
Oh, thank you, Jamie. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you for spending your what must be Thursday afternoon with us, all the way from California, I believe.
Yeah, sitting here in the Bay Area. Pretty nice weather. Still beer drinking weather. Not quite mulled wine weather out here. It's nice and mild, but it's just I can't believe we've already gotten to this part. I mean, when was I on? July? I think mid-season. Just getting back into the swing of things after all the tours were kind of reopening. What a world of difference in 6 months, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I think last time you joined live from Bevel Brewing, you were imminently going to broadcast. I'm going to get it wrong if I don't look at my notes. What were you broadcasting in July?
Oh, July? Was that the D-Glow? The Discraft Great Lakes Open?
I think it must have been D-Glow, yeah.
Sounds right.
I got it written down for sure. Yes, it was D-Glow. You were about to watch D-Glow, and I was about to watch it on the Disc Golf Network, and now we're here. End of the year. Made it.
We made it.
Some hope on the horizon, but a long way to go yet. But looking forward to seeing what 2021 brings. And that's kind of the theme of this episode. For anyone who doesn't know, what we're going to do is we're going to do the normal UK Disc Golf news stuff. No Desert Island Discs this week. I'm going to plug my giveaway a lot because we're giving away so many things, you wouldn't believe it. And we're adding one more thing, thanks to Jamie, so we'll talk about that. And then we're going to do a 2020 recap for all of the good things that happened. And then we're going to do 2021 predictions. Wrap the year up and tie a little bow on it at the top and sign it off for the show. So, Jamie, quickly for anyone who's here who might not know who you are, do you want to do a little intro?
Sure. Hey everybody, I'm Jamie Thomas. I was the Disc Golf Pro Tour's play-by-play commentator this season over on the Disc Golf Network, alongside Nate Doss and Valerie Jenkins, who probably need no introduction if you're watching a disc golf podcast. I also currently co-host the Upshot podcast at UltiWorld Disc Golf. It's the flagship disc golf podcast over there with the founder, Charlie Eisenhood. And I've been around disc golf media for about 10 years now. Got my start with Spin TV handful of years back, and it's been a wonderful journey ever since. So
Yeah.
that's me in a nutshell.
Fun fact for you, I used a picture for promo for the show with you standing by the European Open Hull 1 in 2015. So,
Love it.
so there we
I
go.
think that's the last professional picture I've had taken of me. So it's aging a little bit. I was still in my 20s at that point.
Yeah,
But
well,
it's held up.
It was the first one I found, and I thought, that's European, within the show in Europe, it's somewhat relevant.
Perfect. I think it's still on my Google, if I'm on like a production meeting or something like that, I'm pretty sure that picture is still my picture as well. So
There you go.
you picked the right one.
Well, I'm not sure if we've had any announcements next year on what your roles are going to be in all the Disc Golf Pro Tour and stuff. Are you able to drop that now, or are you still in negotiations?
I am still in negotiations with what exactly my role is going to be. They are going very well. I've known Jeff Spring, the CEO and tour director, for a handful of years now, so it's a great team over there, and I hope to be able to announce soon. We are talking about an expanded role. I will return for commentary alongside Nate and Val, and we're actually looking to add more people to our commentary team for 2021 and beyond. You might have just seen that the announcement came out that there's going to be more live streams next year
really
on the
excited
Disc
for
Golf
that.
Network. So, yeah, we're gonna need a bigger team. Nate and Val can't do every week, and I don't know that it's necessarily good for the game to have the same voices on for 20 plus shows. I mean, that's half the year. Let's give some people a chance to to cut their teeth and show their skills and see what they can bring to the table. So that'll be really exciting.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really excited to watch it. Obviously, I'm a big fan of live disc golf this year. For me, the transition from watching post-produced to live has been my sort of big disc golf revelation of the year. I hardly even want to watch post-produced these days, and for me, live's where it's at. It's just so much more exciting, and I'm fully on the live train. So it does help that the times for live are perfect for UK. Definitely something that you guys need to push and plug a bit more on the socials and stuff. Get your European viewers in, because for us it's starting at things like 6 p.m. or 6:30.
Oh wow! So you guys get prime time.
Yeah, we get you guys on our TVs while we're eating our dinner. So
that's pretty perfect, actually. A lot better than some of when we did the show from Bend this past year on the West Coast. Once the tournaments got over to the East Coast, it was like, ooh, that 3-hour time difference. I think we started Ledgestone at 6 in the morning. Was when we went live for the women's round, which, I mean, it was cool because it was on a golf course that was Sunset Hills, so you kind of get like the golf course vibe, early morning sun. So that definitely helped because it was early on the West Coast, let me tell you.
Oh yeah, I believe you.
Yeah, we need to hype that more. I mean, prime time in the UK, that needs to go on the docket for sure.
I think so. So maybe next year. Well, where I was going with that, Jamie, was you could maybe get some more pro photos done as part of your commentary role.
That I'm going to negotiate that into the contract, where we need headshots, and
I think
hopefully we can get some more at the European Open, and I just, that's the thing I hope for. I know I'm jumping the gun. I just can't wait for the US, the UK, Canada at this point. Their borders closed to us, and everybody just getting back together internationally. That's the biggest disappointment.
Yeah, definitely.
So I can't wait for that.
I was doing my recap. We're going to go through some of 2020, and one of my points for February was Evelina and Hannah slaying at Las Vegas, and it's just a shame we didn't get to see that all year. But hopefully, 2021 we can get some more Finnish and Estonian and various other Baltic states, Norway, and people back out in the States and on our Disc Golf Network broadcasts.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I love to see it. I've just been a big fan, since you mentioned that picture. Since I went over to European Open in 2015, and actually the year before that, I was fortunate enough to go to the Japan Open, and then the European Masters. The last time they held the major at Yarva, and I mean, just I love what is to me the international game. I kind of want to encompass everybody there outside of the States, because there's so much passion for the game. It rivals easily what we have in the States, even though we have so many more players at this point in time. We don't have that many more courses anymore. I mean, the course growth has been incredible, and it's so good. I don't want to ramble, but I can't wait for it to get back together, because it's just two passionate fan bases that hopefully can have less of a barrier, both in the media and physically going forward.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good for sure. So speaking of the 2014 Masters Cup, we got a question from chat. Charlie O'Brien says, "I wonder if Jamie remembers me. Last time we met was 2014 Masters at Yarva. You were announcing the pro players, and he would have been probably 14 or 6 or 15 or something."
I was gonna guess 13. I absolutely remember Charlie. Yeah, hey Charlie, how's it going? I think he was there with his dad, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was just one of the things that stood out to me. And funny enough, Charlie's kind of part of that story. That met Yunus, the Finnish. I mean, he's probably in his 20s by now, but he was a Finnish a teenager, I think, at the time, that was caddying for Macbeth. You know, I think everybody's heard the legendary story where he took the disc out of Paul's hand and told him to throw the rock and all that stuff. And then just all the kids that would ride their bikes up to the Beast every day. Like the day after they took the tournament down, and it's just the 9-hole course, kids after school just riding their bikes up like they do every single day when the pros aren't in town. And I was just like, man, the youth movement, that's the cool part. It's so cool. So
sweet.
I definitely remember Charlie.
There you go, Charlie. There's your story. Yeah, I hope you're excited about that. Charlie now has been a guest on this show, so the things come full circle, don't they?
Hey, big things happening. I like it.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, first segment of the show, as always, the UK Disc Golf News, and this week with added Santas with flags. I had a lot of fun making my little graphics, so I hope you guys appreciate them at least a little bit, and I know I do. So it's worth it for me.
Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, back in July when we were doing the show before, Jamie wouldn't have got to watch along live. So the guest experience has improved, as well as hopefully the experience for you guys in chat. And I appreciate you all for hanging out. Jessica says, "Love this. Thanks for doing the podcasts. My pleasure." Max wants to know if Charlie is still 14. I'm not sure really how to reply to that, but I'll let Max reply to that. Let Charlie reply to that himself, probably. And anyone saying sorry I'm late, welcome to the show. I'm so glad to have you all here, and yeah, exciting to share the Christmas episode. I want to tease something that's coming later in the show that I haven't teased anywhere yet, I don't think, but we're doing the Don't Shoot Player of the Year 2020.
Right.
It's going to have slightly different criteria to the Player of the Season that you might do on the Upshot, because my Player of the Season is going to be the person who made the biggest splash in 2020. It doesn't have to be the best player, it's the person who made the biggest splash. We're going to do one for the UK, one for the Pro Tour, and of course, everything about equality here on the show. We're doing females and males as well. So
beautiful.
So yeah, Jamie, you got another person asking you if you remember them. Derek Robbins, who was the President's Cup captain.
Of course, the legend. Derek Robbins is like, I feel like I almost feel like we talked about this last time I was on the show, that like, Derek, you're like the #1 guy in the UK. Like, you got to know. You got to absolutely know. Heartbreaking loss to the Americans on that day in 2015. It was my birthday that day, so I only feel so bad. You know, they had to do it for me. Nate told me he did it for me. So
there you go. There you go. So yeah, speaking of Derek Robbins, the UK Disc Golf News this week has got to be led out by the news that we ran a tournament. We had one. We got another tournament in. It took quite a lot of dedication for us players, because it was mid-December, and UK weather in mid-December is approximately mud. You can, yeah, it's kind of muddy. So it was more like playing disc golf on a slip and slide than playing on a beautiful Quarry Park course. But we made it work, and it rained pretty heavily throughout. And anyone who knows me telling my stories, I'm going to talk about me for a bit because I always talk about me because, as it was pointed out to me during the round, I'm a bit selfish. So thank you to whichever of my card mates pointed that out. But it was.
What kind of head games are you playing over there? You're just like, oh, you're selfish.
It wasn't really a head game. It was a more that I kept forgetting that they had to throw and things. But just standard me, kind of ADHD, not thinking about other people. But yeah, so for me, I was a bit scared, to be honest, because the last previous tournament that I played in the rain went incredibly badly, and I shot another 780 rated round, so my rating took a little bit of a hit. But you got to get those 780 rated rounds on the list. But I went into it a little bit scared, and I decided to take half the discs out of my bag and play with a 10-disc set. Simplify it a bit, put some DX plastic in, put some discs I know what they do all the time in, and yeah, it worked. I was very happy with how I played in the end, so kept my discs dry. Big shout out, thank you so much to Andy for lending me his big mittens, because I forgot my gloves. He saved me, and I played pretty good. I averaged over 900, I think averaged 910 maybe, which is going to go a good way to get my points back that I lost in the last update. I finished 4th out of a division of 12 in my first English MA2 tournament.
What is the name of this event? I was trying to look it up, but I think I missed it.
It was called the Autumn Open, I think. It was rescheduled from the autumn when we were all in lockdown.
Got it. Is this a PDGA sanction event? Can I look you up here?
You can let me up.
All right.
I can probably send you a link if you want.
All right, let's do that. I wanna check this out because it's all about rounds over rating, right? That's the big metric from I don't care if you're 800 rated or 1050 rated. So how are the rounds over rating for you?
Yeah, pretty good. Not too bad. Right, here we go. I've put the link in the Zoom chat, so you should be able to check it out. But yeah,
perfect.
So, yeah, I finished 4th in intermediate, my first English MA2 tournament. Shot the same in both rounds, which I was quite pleased with. A bit of consistency, even though the weather was much worse in the first round, I thought. But most people shot worse in the second round, so it was a mixed bag. But yeah, my ratings were 908, 907, and 916. So that is 30 or 40 points over my rating, so not bad.
Thumbs up over here. That's how you do it.
Approved, yeah. So congrats to the winner, which was John Tweed, taking home a massive $17. It wasn't really a big open division or an expensive tournament, so it was to be expected. But yes, John Tweed taking the win. Big congrats to this community's member, Amanda Bryant, taking their Advanced Women win in her second ever tournament. So well done, Amanda. Shout outs to Andy Partridge, who I didn't meet, Ryan Ford, who I think I met, and Andy Malcolm, who I definitely met because I stole his gloves, on their wins in their respective rec and novice and other divisions. So yeah, that was the event. It was slippy, and I didn't ace the £1,000 ace pot, but I didn't get too far off. So that was personally, I was pretty.
Hold on. I need to back up for a second here. There's a $1,000 ace pot at this tournament, and the winner of MPO won $17.
Well,
is that real life?
Yeah. That is how it is.
That's okay. You could be an inexpensive event. I just was not expecting you to say that I missed the $1,000 ace pot, and the total MPO purse is $25.
So Corey Park, they have every tournament. They have £1,000 on one specific hole in the tournament. It's not £1,000 on every hole. It's hole 8, which is I think called River Ride, and it's a really picturesque hole where you shoot downhill at the river, and if you ace it, you get £1,000.
And everybody plays the same tees, no matter what division you're in.
Yep.
Just if you hit it in a 1, you card a 1, you get $1,000.
Yeah, if multiple people got it, they would split it. But being that I think it's 3 years and no one's got it yet, it's going to happen.
All right. I'm not a mathematician by trade, but I'm looking here at about, let's say 40, 45 people in this tournament.
Yeah.
And I think if you all agreed to lie and say you all aced it and split that $1,000, you still might make more than the MPO winner.
I think you would, but there's an on-camera specification. You got to get
Fair enough.
your video
Fair
camera out. But if anyone wants to see my ace run, check out it's on my personal Facebook page. Go have a look. I wasn't that close. I think I thought it was closer than it was, but less than a foot away, I would say. So.
Look, the best part about this event, I'm seeing your open division is 5 strokes separated. Only 4 players, but that happens. 5 strokes separated. The highest women's division, the advanced women, they are 3 strokes separated. So looks like it was a pretty good bit of parity. I mean, yeah, you were only 6 strokes off the win yourself in 4th. So it's looking like there's some competitive parity going on out there at Quarry Park.
Oh yeah, it's such a great course. The tournament layout is just fantastic, and they're making it even better as well. They've just bought like a load more land, and they're gonna grow up some more trees and move the short course out there and take more space for the full course, and lots of exciting plans. But
Beautiful.
But yeah, good things happening there. So that was the Quarry Park Open. Autumn Open at Quarry Park, and I want to say a massive shout out to Ali Orr. He was the TD of this tournament, and it was his first ever time TDing. And yeah, the tournament ran really smoothly, and you couldn't tell it was his first time doing it. And it's not an easy time to be a first time TD right now, because there's so many more things you have to think about, like shotgun starts and putting people on different holes and trying not to get groups to crash into each other for social distancing, and scheduling round 2 starts and trying to get people to the right tee at the right time. It was a logistical nightmare, and Ali did a fantastic job, and I want to say a big shout out to him. So you keep doing what you're doing, Ali, and I hope you run many more.
Cheers to tournament directors. It's
oh yeah.
I remember I never had a panic attack in my life, and in fact I wasn't convinced that it was a real thing until the night before I ran my first tournament. And I had one, and it was scary. So I congrats. Anytime anybody can run a successful event and they get the kind of feedback where you say, oh, it didn't seem like it was your first time, you're doing a pretty damn good job.
For sure. And I want to give one more shout out for this tournament, and then we'll move on. But shout out to all my Manchester boys. There's been a whole influx of new players this year in Manchester disc golf, and I think it was 5 of the newer Manchester players all travelled down safely on their own and stuff, but they all came to the tournament and played their first or second tournament ever, and a lot of them did really well. So it was really great to see you guys come down, and well done to Daniel on 3rd in novice. Who else do we have? Jason 14th in novice, Nick 4th in rec, and Callum 12th in rec, and Ben 11th in rec. So yeah, good job guys for coming down. Awesome to see some of you in chat tonight as well, and thanks for checking out the show. So I don't think we've got much other UK disc golf news this week. I think we're UK disc golf news light this week. Have you been playing any disc golf, Jamie?
I've been playing a little bit. Thankfully, despite in coordination with all the social distancing and kind of creating your own little social bubble, I've been hanging out with my good buddy Sean Jack, who also is the manager for strategic partnerships over at the Disc Golf Pro Tour. So we've been playing semi-regularly on weekends, and we're gonna go to a course that actually burned in the fires, the big fires that California had earlier this summer, and hopefully it's back. This will be my first time going there since those fires had happened, and hopefully it's back to its former glory. We'll see. But I'm scheduled to play a tournament come January. It's called the New Year's Classic. There's usually some video coverage of it. You guys, the hardcore fans might have seen Nate Perkins play in it this past year, and we'll see how that goes, man. The more you work in disc golf, the less your game is prepared for these high pressure scenarios. Let's put it that way.
For sure. Yeah, that's cool. I'm really looking forward to playing some more tournaments myself in January and beyond. I don't know if we've got any more scheduled in. We've got one in February in London. Really cool one-day tournament that's Ollie is running. Looking forward to that one. But yeah, looking forward to seeing some more things get scheduled in. We've had our tour announcement for next year. We've got 5 big events to go to, one in Scotland, one in Ireland, one in Wales, one in England, and then an overall British one. We've got a mini tour next year, so that's going to be really cool to follow and give us something to work towards. So hopefully all that can be pulled off, COVID permitting.
that's fantastic. And is that the same amount of? Were we talking about a tour the last time I was on
Yeah, I think so.
in the
Yeah.
UK? Is that the same amount of events that you guys ran last year, or this year rather?
I think it was probably how many events there were supposed to be this year, but next year it's all
Sure.
formalised. We've got some interrelations going with the Scottish Disc Golf Association, who have had a bit of a breakout this year from the British Disc Golf. They want to do their own thing and be less restricted, so they're going to be the official PDGA association for Scotland now. And but we're doing a joint tour. It's going to be cool. I am personally super excited to play at Fellingerry in Wales. I've never played disc golf in Wales yet, and they're expanding this course called Fellingerry, and it's at a very beautiful lakeside, riverside, wooded cabin resort in,
Wow.
in the Welsh countryside. So that's my personal bucket list tournament next year, I think.
Wow, I'm gonna now that I know that you have this combined tour, this is gonna make it a little bit easier to put something on my bucket list because my family is Irish. I am mostly Irish and some Scandinavian, so I guess that's pretty good disc golf lineage. Um, and I recently learned this, but I've never been to Ireland. And I'm not one of those guys that goes around the U.S. saying, "Oh, I'm from Ireland," because I don't know where my family was from. I intend to find out and all that stuff. But if there's a disc golf tournament along the way where I could do a little familial research and genealogy tracing and toss some frisbees, all right.
Yeah, sounded good.
It's going steadily up the list here in terms of things I need to get doing when international travel opens back up for us.
Yeah, definitely. You'll have to check it out. So the disc golf tournament on the UK tour is in Northern Ireland, which is part of the UK. That'll be at Coleraine University, I think. So I'm looking forward to that one. And then there's also a course recently been installed. I don't know if you've heard of Ken Jarvis, but he's
Yeah, that name rings a bell.
former distance world record holder, I think.
Might be where it rings a bell from.
But yeah, Ken Jarvis will be around at some point. And Charlie O'Brien is inviting you to the Irish Open officially, 29th of August, apparently. There you go.
All right, love it. One day, I will make it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, maybe
Charlie,
a bit
even
hard
if I
this year,
can't come
but,
next year, keep inviting me, and I promise I will come one day.
That
will
sounds
happen.
good. That sounds good. Sweet. So yeah, that seems like a pretty good point to jump back out of the UK disc golf news, graphics, and begin our 2020 recap. We've recapped a little bit already. That was not the plan, but here we are, and yeah, so 2020 has been a bit of a crazy year for all of us. We're going to focus on the positives here, and we've got three key things we want to focus on because I think those were the three things for me this year in 2020. There was obviously disc golf in general, disc golf pro tour, disc golf in the US. There was disc golf for me, Harry, selfish person playing disc golf, running a podcast, all of that kind of stuff, and then disc golf inequality and equalness and parity. Professional, personal, and parity was my tagline I came up with. But yeah, I'm really excited to talk about all of those, and let's start in January. So Jamie, think back all the way to January.
Okay.
We'd heard of a little virus that had begun in China, but we weren't aware of much about it. We were very innocent back then, and
Just the flu.
it was just the flu. Yeah, exactly. And my first bit of disc golf in January was I went up to Scotland and I played a really cool tournament called the Hard Frost Open, which was a 2-day event, but it was kind of a different 2-day event because day one was at a course about 30 miles east, 30 miles east of Edinburgh, called Bluebell Woods in Dunbar, my favourite course in the world. That was a singles tournament, a 1-day singles tournament, and then overnight we all travelled across the country to Glasgow and played a 1-day doubles tournament in unsanctioned doubles in Springburn Park in Glasgow. Really cool concept for a tournament. It was a great sort of New Year's-ish vibe. I think it was middle of January, but people were seeing each other for the first time since the holidays. It was cold, it was frosty, but it was really cool. And that was my first event of the year.
Isn't that always fun? The first event of the year is almost never in good weather. You almost never play the way you want to, but you get to see everybody, and that's the real winner in that. I one year took my then girlfriend, now wife, to a tournament down in Monterey, California. Um, Golf fans will know that's near Pebble Beach, not too far away from that very famous course, very beautiful golf course. And I played what's called the Otter Open, which is a regional tournament in the regional series out here called the NorCal Series. That's the first event of the year, typically.
Cool.
Now, in Fahrenheit, it's in the 50s. It is cold, gray, water off of the ocean. I know you in the UK know nothing about that type of weather, so I'll describe it in detail for you. But I was not prepared to play a tournament. I was not in the right kind of gear, the right rain protection, and it was just awful. I played terribly. It was horrible. But playing on my card in my very first Northern California tournament was a friend of mine that's still a friend to this day, even though he's moved to Japan. So I love those beginning of the year tournaments. I mean, on the pro circuit, it's the Memorial. Now it's the Las Vegas Challenge in 2021. There's just always that vibe, that post-holiday vibe that's so special.
It's really cool to see. We've got some people in chat saying mental that I didn't even play disc golf in January, and I think that's just a testament to how fast the sport's grown. That people are in here hanging out, listening to me talking about, listening to us talk about disc golf, and they didn't even know what the sport was back in January. So that's really cool, and I'm glad that you could join us in the community, Dale.
I'm the best player in the world. If you're new here, I have a multi-million-dollar contract, and yeah, you should buy my trading cards. No, I'm kidding. Welcome to the sport.
And yeah, so anyone who hasn't played a tournament in Scotland, do that next year if you can. If you can travel, if things are going okay for COVID reasons or whatever, go play in Scotland, because the community up there is amazing. You'll have so much fun. It's so friendly, and highly recommended to make the trip at least once. And they've got some great courses too. Scotland is a particularly special. Just everywhere in Scotland is pretty. There's no dull, boring bits of Scotland. So highly recommended.
Just writing it on that list, man. Just writing it on that list.
Yeah, you're gonna have to come over and play a few of them at some point, Jamie. That's my personal mission, is to get as many of you US guys over here and experience what disc golf's like on our little island. So
and I'll drink some mulled wine.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be seasonal at the time, but we'll get together and do it.
We'll have to keep some. Mulled wine progress about halfway down this massive cup so far.
All right.
About halfway through the show, so doing okay.
Yep, I'm pacing with you here. We're doing good.
Good. On the blog in January, I was still writing my written articles, which have kind of gone by the by right now. Maybe I'll bring them back. But I was doing my write-ups of my travels to these tournaments. I was doing some pro scene predictions articles back in the day.
Okay.
And the podcast hadn't even been conceived yet. So that was January. And then we moved into February, which was the last month of proper touring disc golf in the UK. I played a few events. Played the Mendip Masters, which was mediocre. It was the last tournament at Mendip with all their woods holes in, which is a shame. They're moving some of the layouts out around because it's in an adventure centre, and they want some of the forest back for other activities. But played the Mendip Masters. I played meh. Averaged about my rating at the time, which is about 850. It's fair enough. It was all right. It was a very mediocre tournament in my eyes. And then we played the Midlands Open, which for me was one of the biggest eye-openers in disc golf tournaments-wise my entire disc golf career so far. I was very excited about Midlands Open. I played that course a lot. It was at a place called Bedworth, and I was going to smash it. I was convinced. My distance was feeling good. I was ready to smash it, and I went out, and round one rained pretty hard, and things were not going well for me, and I shot my worst rated round in a very long time. It was 785 rated, and I think it was 19 over par or 20 over par or something. It was incredibly rough, and halfway through the round I wanted to go home. At the end of the round I nearly did go home. I had to be convinced to stay and play. I was having grip issues, I was having mentality issues. It was a bit rough. And then the afternoon round I was not in a good place. I played a bit better. I think I was 6 or 7 shots better, but still very mediocre. And at the end of the day I was dead last. It was a 2-day tournament. I was dead last in my division. I would have been second to last in the division below me. It was not going well. It was pretty bad. And then, yeah,
but you finished.
yeah, so that was day one, and then overnight.
Finished.
Overnight, I went back to my hotel. I got through the day. I was talking to my wife on the phone, and she was like, "You can come home if you want, but it's a bit of a waste of your hotel night, whatever, la la la." And I was, I was convinced that I was going to try the next day. And what I did was I switched out some of my discs. I changed from my speed 13 drivers to my speed 11 drivers. I changed which mid-range I was throwing. I had a few extra discs in the car, so I just thought I'll swap it up and try some different things because it didn't work. And I'll try playing a little bit slower, a little bit smoother, and care a little bit less about how well I do. And it was a little bit less rainy and a little bit less windy. It was still wet, but it was okay. And I came out and I smashed it. And I shot the best score of any player in any division the entire weekend in the third round. I shot 973.
From DFL to hot round?
I came back from last in my division to second in the
Come
division.
on.
So the difference in rating between the two rounds was 180 ratings points.
Come on. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I learned a lot about not giving up. I learned a lot about what things to do when things aren't going right for me. And yeah, I think I'm going to look back on that day as one of the key points of my disc golf career when it comes to it. So
I love that story. I'm so glad that happened because that's the thing. Look, I quit one tournament in my whole like tournament playing career, and I still regret it. I kind of regret it. I played a tournament that I shouldn't have signed up for because I wasn't ready when I went in.
Right.
And it was a mess. And I was also trying to work that weekend, and it was splitting my mind. But aside from that, there's so many times when I've wanted to quit, and just like, except for that one, and since then I've never quit a tournament, no matter how badly I'm doing. Even when I've played my home tournament, the San Francisco Safari, and I was on the last card in Open, and it was horrible because we got to a backup where it was a really cool par 5. It was a special hole for the event, but it took so long to play because we had all the divisions playing that by the time the Open players went through, and we were the last card in Open, so we're the first card to see that hole. By the time we got to tee, the entire Open division was waiting.
Wow.
This is including sponsored players. This is including guys like James Proctor was there, and gosh, who else? Anyway, some sponsored players, some 1,000, 10, 20 plus rated players in Northern California, and they all got to watch me on one of the worst days of my disc golf career completely misplay this par 5. Horribly play it. But I finished the event, and that's the thing is I always go back, as the story is becoming really long-winded here. I'll go back to one moment I had at the USDGC, the first USDGC I ever attended. In 2013, Steve Brenster won it that year.
Okay.
You know who came in second that year? Can I give you on the spot trivia?
I don't. I'm gonna guess at Greg Barsby.
It's a good guess. It is also a major winner. It's Barry Schultz came in second that year. Now Barry Schultz was winning this event at one point, and it was either like a 10 or an 11 on hole 888. Hole number 13 for USDGC fans. Back in the really hard configuration.
Yeah, so for anyone who's been watching Eagles vlogs, it's the one that he shows in pretty much every vlog he talks about failure in, where he's throwing discs into the parking lot over and over and over again.
Yes. Eagle did have an extreme meltdown on that hole just a few years later. But I remember, and so I was still kind of new, and I'm watching Barry Schultz, and I'm like, okay, this guy's a multi-time world champion, a multi-time U.S. champion, and I'm watching him absolutely blow up on hole 13 on the lead card of USDGC. And wouldn't you know it, he falls off, he comes back the final round, shoots a really good score, ends up second place to Steve Brenster. And I was like, if you can play against the best in the world and take a double-digit score on a single hole and still come back one round later and find yourself in second at a major, I just looked at myself and I said, there's nothing you're ever going to face in your tournament life that's going to be harder to do than that. So you're good. Just go do it. Just bounce back from it.
That's a really cool story. It's really cool, and it's a really good thing to apply to your own game as well. take my story or take the slightly more impressive Barry Schultz story. Either one, they're about parallel. But
it's the spirit. It's the spirit, you know.
Yeah.
Ghost of Tournament's future says, "Don't give up."
Yeah, don't give up. Just have fun, because you're out there playing disc golf. You could be a lot of worse places right now. So yeah, there you go. There's our parable for February. In terms of the blog, still writing articles. Did my first pro interview, interviewed Tristan Tanner, and then never wrote the article because it was in progress, and then all of the COVID stuff started taking off, and it all became irrelevant because it was all about what his touring plans were and things. So the article never got written. So hopefully hopefully next year we can get Tristan Tanner on the podcast or in an interview, and we can find out a bit about him because he's one of my favorites. So
throws a mile.
He does, and his form is incredibly clean. I'm going to have here's a teaser for next year's podcast. I'm going to be having a disc golf lesson from Tristan Tanner, a virtual disc golf lesson, and he's going to analyse my form, and we're going to show some clips of what he does on the podcast and talk about it. So there you go.
That's awesome. Yeah, those Colorado boys, man. I don't know what it is. Eagle, Tristan, Colton. These guys can just bomb the disc. I don't know what it is up there.
It must be the high altitude or something, but whatever it is, they're working. In the pro scene in February, we had Vegas and the Memorial. I've written down Europeans in the US doing very well. Evelina and Henna came second and third in the same tournament, so looking forward to, hopefully, we talked about that before, so we won't hover, but hopefully you get that back. And MPO winners was Sexton and Calvin. Again, Sexton, pretty much the only time we saw him and he won, so looking forward to seeing him next year, hopefully. And Calvin, we'll talk about Calvin a bit later, but he had a pretty good year, and that was a good start to it for him. So,
Earl Heimberg bookending the tour again.
Once again, yeah,
impressive,
very impressive, and look out for him next year, I would say. And then March came, Jamie, and March meant lockdown. For us in the UK, it was all of March, the end of March, all of April, all of May. No disc golf officially, no tournaments. No travel. We weren't even supposed to drive a few miles to the park. It was stay at home unless you can't, and a lot of people took it very seriously. And that's when this show was founded. A lot of us were a bit bored in the evenings, not a lot going on. And my wife said to me, "Why don't you do a podcast?" And I said, "I'd be terrible at that. I don't want to do a podcast." And she said, "Oh, you should try it." And I did, and it was fun. And we had a lot of people hanging out in chat on the first time I did it, and some of them are here tonight. So thanks for sticking with me, guys. And yeah, it was really cool. And the graphics were terrible. I'm not sure if anyone remembers my old blue graphics before we got all the fancy stuff done. I appreciated Amy putting them together for me, but we didn't really know what we were doing, and we just sort of had boxes on boxes and on circles. But they were charming in their way. And we did our first giveaway. That was one disc back in there, and we're about to give away 6 prizes, one of which is 5 discs. 7 prizes, one of which is 5 discs. Today, well, there's giveaways on Sunday, but the last chance to enter is by commenting on the chat today. So do that. Let me put my other graphic up while we talk about the giveaway. There you go. You've got 5 ways to win this giveaway. You can win a 5-disc mystery box, a starter set, London Disc Golf Community chalk bag, Ace Disc Golf voucher, 2 discs from the Perfect Flight podcast, and a disc from Jamie, who's going to hold it up as we speak. Once I can get him back on the screen. Christmas giveaway. You can enter by commenting in the chat today. You can enter by commenting in last week's show, which you've already missed. You can enter by liking a Facebook post on my Facebook page. You can enter by hearting a post on my Instagram. And you can enter by donating to Edge Disc Golf, Uplay Disc Golf, or Kids Disc Golf. Any of those 3 charities. Send them any amount of money at all. Doesn't matter if it's only $1. Send a screenshot of what you sent to my personal Facebook page, and you get 5 bonus entries into the giveaway. I've already seen, I think, 5 or 6 people donating, so I appreciate you for all of that. My community are awesome at supporting good causes, so keep doing that. And Jamie's adding a disc to the prize pool, which is awesome. Well, not a disc.
Yeah.
Not a disc.
Well, not a disc, but I have a disc to represent. And I also love that you said 7 prizes, and I think there's 7 days till Christmas. 7.5, I guess, over in my time zone. So we're doing pretty good here. Also very cool that you're giving away chances to win for charity. I'm fortunate to know all of the people that run all 3 of those charities that you talked about, and that's all great groups to donate to. So take your pick. But yeah, we're talking about giveaways, and I said, well, I can't come to a holiday show without a gift. That just would be rude. Mama taught me better than that. So uh, I will show off this. The disc is not what I'm giving away, but it is kind of cool. What I will give away to one of your viewers and listeners, and you can choose, all the same rules that you said, Harry. You choose. I'll pay the tab. I'm gonna pay somebody's PDGA membership for 2021. So
Awesome.
Am or Pro, doesn't matter. Whoever wins, just let me know, and we'll get you hooked up. But
Yeah.
I thought the disc was pretty cool. My son was just born back in September, and I got him his PDGA number, and of course they sent him
His
PDGA
little-
disc and a PDGA Mini.
Yeah, so we were just saying. Well, firstly, congratulations on the birth of your son. I know I
Thank you.
passed on my congratulations before, but congrats on that. I hope it's all going well. But yeah, here in the UK we don't get the disc giveaway on the PDGA membership, but it is still a really awesome prize, and it'll save somebody $20. So or 40 if they're a pro member or whatever. But yeah, thanks Jamie for adding that to the prize pool. Somebody is going to win that all of the ways before. So get your charity donations sent in and send me a screenshot, and you'll get 5 extra entries. And I got a really nice message from Zoe Andike saying thank you. So thank you to whoever's already donated to them. So
Beautiful. That's awesome. I love the spirit of that, and it's too bad you guys don't get the disc over there. It's kind of a cool disc, but
I think it would cost them our entire membership in shipping to get the disc out here. But,
right. See, that's what you need, because you sent me some of the discs from over on your side of the pond. and
yeah, Disc Golf UK hooked you up with some stuff. You got a launch lander, a Duke, and a code. I think.
Duchess? Did you send me a Duchess? I think so. I was trying to find it to see if I could grab it, but I don't see it in the stack over there. So
I got them just here, but I think you got a Don't Shoot Lander as well. So
yes.
so fun,
Excellent.
Fun bit of trivia for you here. The artwork on the Don't Shoot Lander was done by an artist called John Dawn, who is the same guy who does the art for the PDGA membership Birdie tier. You know the fancy tiers they get. You get the fancy snazzy discs. John Dawn's the same guy who does the art for those. So
very cool.
There's
That's awesome. I did not know that.
there's your PDGA / Don't Shoot hookup.
I'm now at the point in my career here where I should have bought a lifetime PDGA membership a few years ago, because
Yeah.
I would, I'm going to be around long enough now to make use of it. I got to get into those tiers is the short version of this story.
Well,
so.
if you haven't seen the artwork on this year's Birdie disc, you're gonna want to get into that tier if you can. I really wish we could get them, because I would get it just for that. But yeah, they're really cool. So yeah, check them out.
Check that out.
So yeah, that was March. Thanks for supporting the show, everybody, and thanks for the prize, Jamie. Let's get back into our year recap, because we've got some kind of banging hard style Christmas music on right now, and it's I'm not sure how well you can hear it in the chat, but yeah, the disc was a MVP relay. Paul.
Relay.
Yeah. And yeah,
And a mini.
and a
The
mini.
mini's adorable.
But yeah, we don't get them, but they're cool to see anyway. So yeah, what happened in March on the show was we started our first show, we did our first giveaway, and in the Pro Tour, they only had one event in March because it was cancelled 2 rounds in, I think, or 3 rounds in. 2 rounds in, right?
2 rounds in. Yeah, we found out right after we got on a call to kind of talk about, what we did well, what we want to do better tomorrow, and they're like, oh, there's actually not going to be a tomorrow. So hang out. So I just hung out with Nate and Val for a day.
Crazy.
Silver
yeah.
lining.
And we had Colton Montgomery win the event, take it away from Paul Macbeth by scoring 2 eagles in the last 5 holes, which is kind of nuts. So so that was Colton's first win on the DGPT, and that was the end of March. And we moved into April, and things got crazy, and things got really crazy, and all disc golf was shut. There was no travel, but we kept the podcast going, which was for a lot of people was really nice, and for me it was really nice because it gave me something each week to look forward to, something on a schedule. I was still working, but a lot of people were furloughed by the government, weren't working, and discovered the show and hung out every Thursday evening, and I got some really nice messages. So personally, to me, it was really worthwhile, just for the people who I know I helped through a tough time. But and also for me, giving me something to do. But we had guests on the show. We had Richard Hatton, Disc Golf UK owner / founder, and that led to a great working relationship with him. And they've sponsored pretty much more than half of the giveaways we've ever done. So and they sponsor the show and allow me to do all the cool things we do. So big shout out to Disc Golf UK. We had our big quiz night, which was not big because we only had about 5 or 6 players, but we took part in the global phenomenon of a Zoom quiz and did a Don't Shoot podcast disc golf quiz, which I think was really good. So maybe we'll do it again at some point next year, and I'll reuse my questions because I was really proud of them.
You know, and I remember Smashbox, John Van Derzen wanted to do, they started a game show for a little bit over on their channel. And so I'm wondering, because I love the format. I love going to bar or pub trivia, and one of my favorite things to do pre-COVID. So I'm wondering how this format can survive in the future, because I do think, especially like I can talk to you from San Francisco, so it just brings everybody together. That I love the trivia idea.
Yeah, for sure. It's such a good thing. So hopefully we can reuse some of my questions because there was some pretty tricky Disc Golf Pro Tour screenshots and other quiz things. So yeah, we'll get that back out again because I was pleased with myself. And also we ran Disc Golf Valley tournaments. I don't know if you guys remember that. Disc Golf Valley, the mobile game, back in April and May, during lockdown, we couldn't play real disc golf tournaments. So me and Richard Hatton multi-streamed some Disc Golf Valley tournaments. We had up to 32 players playing at once, which is quite crazy. Did a bracket, hung out on a Thursday evening. The Disc Golf Valley tournaments were Tuesdays and the show was Thursdays. So that was a little cultural phenomenon we had in the middle of lockdown. We had some virtual disc golf.
Yeah, gotta find ways to keep busy.
You do. You definitely do. And then, we moved into May. And the podcast started to get a bit bigger. We had a few more guests. We had Adam McCrory from Ace. A lot of people joined us for that episode for the first time. That was our first episode with 40 viewers live. And we've only had that a few times later. So Adam was very popular. And they did a great job of promoting us. And they also hooked me up with my awesome new graphics. So thank you to Ace for sorting some of that out for me. And the show got a lot better in May, I thought, and we did a few cool topics that you guys might remember. We played GeoGuessr, which is a game where you land on a map and you have to work out where you are. And we made a map of disc golf courses in the world, and you had to work out where you were. Nice. We played Dream 18, which I know people have done their vlogs this Christmas. Their Dream 18 vlog, we did it back then.
Yep.
I did my UK Dream 18. We did some Disc Golf Pro Tour Dream 18 stuff, and we had an epic fundraiser for Edge. We raised $650 by auctioning a Jomez Pro Signature Series disc that kind of went crazy, and we had Ace Disc Golf jump in to double the winning result, and other people throwing in cash even without receiving any discs back, and we were featured on Smashbox as a result of that. So awesome fundraising opportunity, and that's probably one of my personal highlights of the whole year. This show, just me doing a podcast on a Thursday night, and we raised $650 for charity. So
wow. I know some podcasts that, and I don't mean this in any offensive way, but like who have a bigger audience than you do who have given back a lot less. So that's huge, man. Seriously.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
awesome.
For me, the whole thing about the show is giving back, right? Like, I'm enjoying doing it. I don't need anything from it. I'm not looking to make a quick buck off it or anything, and I know you guys aren't either on Smashbox, but it's not here for the profit. I want to give discs back to my community, and we've done more giveaways than people watching right now. So a lot of you have won a giveaway in our podcast. We've done a load of epic giving back stuff. We've done some charity stuff, and hopefully next year we'll do more. So I'm excited.
I would expect no less. I can't wait to, and make sure when you do that stuff, I'm trying to remember if Ultiworld ever ran an article about it, because that's the kind of stuff that I'm always trying to find. So just heads up, man.
Yeah,
anytime you're doing that stuff,
we'll definitely do that.
Give us a ping. We can write it up.
For sure. So yeah, and May was the first time in the year when the equality stuff that's been kind of a theme of 2020, one of the positive themes, I think, started to come up with the whole George Floyd tragedy over in the US, and a lot of the Black Lives Matter stuff that came out of it. And I think that's been a really good thing for disc golf, because it's brought to the forefront some of the topics that we didn't want to talk about. Some of the things that were always there behind the scenes but didn't get mentioned, and it brought some stuff out, and gave people like me on this podcast, like you guys on Smashbox, a platform and a reason to talk about some issues that might have got missed otherwise. And it was certainly sobering to see all of that coming out of the US, but it was a good opportunity for us to to bring out some topics that we wouldn't normally cover on a sports podcast. So I appreciated that.
Yeah, and for my part, I've been really proud to work with the Disc Golf Pro Tour because they took a stance early, and they didn't wait. Jeff Spring came out immediately. I mean, it was not maybe a month removed from the Preserve Championship, which is only about an hour outside of where it all happened. An hour or so, I believe. If anybody from Minnesota sees this and corrects me, but it was, just kind of sobering to sit down and do that show. And Jeff Spring had a very thoughtful message that he shared with the audience. And it fills me with pride that we have a sport and have a community of disc golfers that wants to make things better. And that's where you want to be. It's not perfect, and you can't go back and look. And I mean, it's easy to go back and look and say, hey, things were terrible. But I'm just glad that we're not focused on what was so terrible and how things were inequitable, and they were. But as a sport, we're looking forward. And
sure.
I mean, we saw this very week, the PDGA came out and made the national tour here in the U.S. The national tour bonus structure is equal for MPO and FPO. The Pro Tour's final payout equal for MPO and FPO. So it does feel good to be a part of a group of people that is saying, hey, we want to be part of the solution.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I know the show's going to run over tonight, guys. It's Christmas. We'll deal with it as long as Jamie's good to stay.
I talked too much. Sorry.
But no. What I was going to say there was I was going to drip feed the equality stuff throughout the other points of this month, but I'm gonna drop them all on you now. So the things I've got written down: Disc Golf Pro Tours roundtable that they did, where they got on the Disc Golf Network. They had a discussion about all the equality things, which was really sobering and insightful. Big Germ wearing his BLM shirt on the broadcast, getting some more eyes on that, which I thought was really cool. And then over here in the UK, we've had a few equality things. We haven't really had so much racism talk and that side of things, but we've had a lot of the women's disc golf stuff come up, because we've historically not had a massive women's division in the UK. So we've had a lot of stuff for that this year. So we had stuff with Lou Wilson and Chicks with Discs. Her really cool, really well named group who were meeting and playing casual rounds together, and she has a website which we sponsored from contributions made by our sponsors on the show. And we had, of course, a lot of Ultimate players join the show, join the community, and there's much more parity in Ultimate. We've got much evener numbers there. So we had some Ultimate chat, and we talked a lot with Fred Ingram about how he's a UK Ultimate player, and we talked with him about why we thought there wasn't so much equality in between FPO and MPO, or females and males in disc golf in the UK, and how we can fix that. And then we had the whole Respect Her Game campaign, which we were a part of. We had a special video we did with a really awesome upcoming player called Rachel Turton. You will see more from her, I would imagine, because she is over 920 rated as a woman already, and it's been 6 months of her playing. So I would expect to see her in the future.
Write that name down.
Yeah, she's really awesome, and she did a really good interview with us as well. So what is going on in my ears right now? Oh no, we're going to get muted on YouTube and Facebook in the VOD. I'm sorry, guys. I've let my music autoplay throughout the royalty-free playlist, and we've
reached the non-royalty-free playlist
the non-royalty-free playlist bit. But hopefully, you guys who are watching live will still be here, and maybe they'll miss us. Who knows? But yeah, so we had a Respect Her Game with Rachel, and then of course Carol's National Bag Tag League. I don't know if you've come across this, Jamie, but a lady here in the UK called Carol has been running and setting up a national UK Bag Tag League, and they've got sponsorship from Innova, from Throw Pink, from Zoe Andyke, masses of international sponsorship for it. They've got 32 UK-based female entries already into this Bag Tag League, which is, I didn't even know there were 32 women playing disc golf in the UK, so it's really awesome to see that. They've made these really cool wood-burned pyrography bag tags. They've been posted all over Facebook, internationally on Reddit, and it's been awesome to see a really great women's thing coming out of disc golf. And I'm so excited to see where that goes next year when they actually get to start playing for their bag tags.
That's fantastic. I mean, 32 players. I think we talked about the Autumn Open earlier, and there were 47 players in that. So think about the comparison scale there, how much this can grow if already 32 women are signing up to do this bag tag league. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool, and Carol's doing great things for the sport, and yeah, doing really awesome. So I'm really excited about that. So yeah, that was the equality stuff. I wanted to get that in while you guys are all still here. I know we're going to run over a bit, and I'm just going to keep talking. So what can I say? It's the mulled wine.
Yeah. Hey, I have some most peculiar haze in case some people arrived late. I'm just going to show this beer one more time because this is my favorite name of a beer that I've ever seen in my entire life.
It's pretty awesome.
And if it takes a second to catch the label, but I just love it.
It's really cool. For anyone who didn't actually see,
come on,
floating in a most peculiar haze is what the ale is called, and it's an awesome name. So yeah, we were up to the end of May, I think, talking about some June stuff. So yeah, we came out of our first lockdown in June, so we got to get back out on the course. We had a local league in Manchester, which was really fun. Ran in the summer. We had of course, more podcast guests. We had Jake and Derek Robbins. Got a dying demo, Disc Golf Dying, which is a cool episode. I go back and check out what Jake did every now and then, and I thought that was fun. We discovered just how many people had been playing disc golf during the lockdown, how many new players we'd had join the scene. People started jumping into the podcast and saying, "Hey, I'm new. I've been playing Ultimate for 3 years, and I just picked up disc golf," and it was awesome to see so many new players. Of course, the Pro Tour also came back. Macbeth and LeCastro took down big wins once the Pro Tour came back, and we had CBS Sports segments filmed as well, I believe.
Yeah, that was one step towards what would be a pretty eventful rest of the Disc Golf Pro Tour season. We didn't know it at the time, looking back on it, how it would turn out, but that was the start of a really fun run throughout the summer and fall.
Yeah, and it was really fun to watch as well. We got so many events in, and the live coverage really took a step up in quality this year, in my opinion, and became one of my favourite things to do. I'd really look forward to the Disc Golf Network live coverage. So, personal note from me, Jamie, thanks for your part in that.
Cheers to that.
For sure. Yeah, and we'll rumble on into July. We had our mini unsanctioned Quarry Park Open. Our first tournament back after lockdown. We didn't have our sanctioning back from the PDGA yet. We hadn't met all the criteria, but sports were still off. But we were allowed out to play, so we had an unsanctioned Quarry Park Open, which went really well, really smooth. And big shout out to Derek Robbins for running that, and Andrew Malcolm as well. And they smashed it. They knocked it out of the park. And I think a lot of the tournament directors who would run tournaments in the next few months looked at how easy they made it look and thought it would be easy, and then realised it wasn't. So I think that's a testament to how well that tournament was run. And I think the same could be said for a lot of the Pro Tour tournaments as well. Disc Golf Pro Tour made it seem very easy from the outside, and I'm sure that was a lot of hard work on your logistics, and Jeff Spring needs a lot of credit for being able to run a full Pro Tour season this year, I think.
That's kind of my number one takeaway from the whole year, and I give a lot of the credit to Jeff and his team. And by the way, a little insider note, two of our camera operators, our main two camera operators for the Disc Golf Network this season, were also on the road 9 months out of this year, and they were the ones helping set up and break down the course the day before, the day after, going and getting all the drone footage, then filming all the players, then so they pulled double duty. Sam Gaddis and Evan Spur are their names, and so those two alongside Jeff Spring, and let me go ahead and throw Seth Fendley in there. Without those four guys, there wouldn't have been a Pro Tour season this year, so they deserve a lot of credit.
They do, and I don't think they've got enough credit yet because I've not heard their names before. So yeah, big shout out to those guys, and awesome to hear that. So yeah, really amazing to have all that run this year. And on the pro side, well, firstly, we had Jamie on this show for the first time. That's on my notes. So there you go. That's where we are in the year right now. Eagle McMahon went on a winning run. Took down 3 big-ish tournaments in about 4 weeks, which was kind of crazy. That was sort of the most dominant anyone was this season. I think it was a really even season on the Pro Tour. There was a lot of players who had a chance to win at all the tournaments. It wasn't just sort of, oh, Paul's going to win and then Ricky's going to be second and then anyone else is going to be behind that, which is kind of how it's been the previous 2 years. So it was cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, the day after I was on the show last, that's when Eagle started that run where he did win those. He's the only player to go back-to-back this season in MPO, obviously. Paige Pierce is just another story in another
Yes.
category, all her own. But, yeah, it's insane to think that nobody in MPO won more than 2 events on the Pro Tour this year. That's just... Wow. It's incredible, honestly. I don't have another word for it.
Unprecedented. Maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
It was really cool to see. So that was July, and of course Paige Pierce continuing to dominate on the FPO side as well. I think Katrina got one big win, but Paige was really a dominant force in 2020. So if I don't mention her in every month, that's because she was kind of doing the same thing in every month.
So you have the same problem I do, where it's like you risk damning Paige with faint praise.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Just continually destroys all the notions of what we think FPO as a division is capable of. She just continues to redraw the box and break the mold and do it all over again. And it's like, it can feel like you're not giving her enough credit because she's so constantly ahead of people.
Yeah, and then it's easy to forget she's still playing with the new manufacturer's discs this year. Like,
sure,
you can just completely bypass that because she's just dominating with whatever she gets her hands on. So it doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy to undersell how good Paige has been. So need to be careful not to do that. But then we rolled into August. Another big month for the podcast. We had our first ever live show from Bluebell Woods in Scotland. We had the course owner Seamus on. We had Noah and Jamie hanging out on the camera. We had vastly fading light because the show starts at 9, so it was getting dark. So we had headlights of my Saab from behind, trying to illuminate the set, and the engine making no one being able to hear anybody. It was a laugh anyway. And of course we got our Don't Shoot Landers. They came out in July and August, and got them to all you guys, and that was really cool for me because it was the first time I'd seen my logo on anything real, you know. So that was a really big moment for me, and hopefully we can do that more next year. Got talk of some Don't Shoot stamped Castplast to come potentially next year. So that's my hope for 2021. And
there you go.
Yeah, that'll be cool. And we got we had another tournament. We had a sanctioned tournament in August, South Warden Farm, where I played pretty good. I averaged 900 rating, but I got injured, which sucked. I hurt my elbow. It was a repetitive strain injury because I played Bluebell Woods one weekend and then South Warden Farm the next weekend, and I damaged the ligaments in my elbow, and then couldn't throw for 6 weeks. So I taught myself to play left-handed because that's how addicted to disc golf I am. I couldn't go 6 weeks without throwing. And to be completely honest, it's only just getting to the point where it's fine now. So it has taken a long time to properly heal. But yeah, I had 6 weeks of no throwing at all. So I learned to play left-handed, and actually it's become part of my game now, which is quite cool because I've never really had a forehand. So it's nice to have a disc that spins the other way, and my left-handed game is giving me that. So in the tournament we played last weekend, I averaged over 900, and I played I think 8 or 9 lefty shots. So wow. It's definitely becoming something that I can trust a little bit, which is nice.
Were you inspired at all by Jessica Weiss? Because we saw a lot of that out of her on the tour this year. She was dealing with an elbow injury over the off season. She learned to play lefty. She hurts her elbow again, and I think it was Jonesboro, which I'm skipping ahead 1 month. It was in September. But she threw a bunch of lefty shots and threw a bunch of impressive lefty shots coming from someone who is naturally left-handed.
Yeah, I wasn't inspired specifically by Jessica, but I was inspired by Matt Dollar. I don't know. I'm sure he's from your area, isn't he, Matt Dollar?
Georgia. He's out on the East Coast, but
okay.
Yeah, MVP sponsored.
Yeah. So he got hurt last year and learned to play lefty and has implemented that into his game as well. And I enjoy his bag cam videos he makes from his tournaments sometimes, where he puts his mobile phone on his bag and shows his lefty drives on some holes. So yeah, Matt Dollar adding it to his game, and I thought I'd copy and try it to me, and it seems to be going quite well. So going to keep practicing that for for next year.
That's perfect. I don't know if you guys have this in the UK, but over here we have a thing where if you can play 17 holes on a course and they can all be very righty friendly holes, and yeah, nobody says a word about it, and then you get to the one hole on that course where it turns to the right and that lefty hyzer is proper, and they go
Lefty hole.
lefty hole.
Lefty hole. Yeah.
Oh, come on. We just played 17 righty hyzers.
So
There's just so much pressure as a lefty to step up and park that hole all of a sudden that it's insane.
yeah, we've got at my home course, Manchester Disc Golf. It's a pretty right-handed dominant course. I would have never admitted that before because there's two holes which are quite significantly turned to the right, and I always said, "Oh, Manchester's pretty. It's okay. It's about balanced, isn't it?" And then I was
And then you played
actually
lefty.
trying to play lefty rounds at Manchester, and it's a struggle. It's hard. It's just having to continually try and play forced turnover shots. It's a battle. But one hole.
Can't throw a turnover. You cannot play lefty disc golf. You have to learn to throw a turnover if you're a lefty. That's the
You
thing.
do. There's one hole at Manchester, hole 13. It's probably 75 meters, but there's a Mando on the corner, and then it goes right round the corner. So you really just can't play a right-hand backhand shot that goes round the corner. And so that's the lefty hole at Manchester, and I'm still playing it left-handed, even though I can throw right-handed again now. So that one really is a lefty hole, but yeah, don't.
It's a tool in the bag, and that's what it needs to be.
It is, yes. It is.
Perfect.
So yeah, we rolled quickly into September. We just said about Jessica Weiss had some good tournaments on the FPO side. We had Kevin Jones making a splash, winning his first big event, and Paul Macbeth getting a good win as well. On the pro side, and on the podcast side, we got our first official sponsors, Disc Golf UK and London Disc Golf Community. So thanks to you guys for the 6 months of support you guys have put in that let us start multi-streaming. We've got YouTube chat, we've got Twitch chat. So hi to the few of you who've commented on the YouTube stream tonight. Thank you for your comments. Appreciate you all. And yeah, I don't know if we're going to keep doing that next year because we haven't had an awful lot of viewers on YouTube. But the thing that is nice is that the VODs are there forever on YouTube.
Right.
You finish streaming and they stay. But it is not cheap to have to pay for the software to do that. So I'm not sure if we're gonna re-up that one or not. But we'll decide in the new year. We might just be better at uploading to YouTube after the fact and try and get them on the podcast channels as well. I set all that up and then never really got good at doing it. So maybe that'll be my New Year's resolution. But we'll decide that during the off season. But yeah, that was September, and I've written down as well. There was more equality stuff going on in the US. Disc Golf Strong were raising some of the female issues that were going on over there. There was some tweets going around and some more good conversations that needed to be had. And they had some really positive conclusions, as we've already alluded to, with the equal payouts on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, with equal payouts on the National Tour next year. So all that was really good, and again, it was exciting to see progress being made in a year that could have easily followed the political cycle and degenerated into something negative. Was managed to keep positive. So
Yeah, because we're staying in the positive vein of the show, we won't talk politics.
I think
we
that's for the
were
best.
making some political banter back and forth before we came on the air here, but we'll leave that for that. And I have a question for you and to anybody in the chat. It's a big deal when something gets on ESPN here. I mean, when we got the ESPN2 show for the Pro Tour, people freaked out. And we got some good ratings out of it. 225,000 households in the United States watched that show. By comparison, the MLS, of course, our pro football league, had about 450,000 concurrent viewers for a playoff game.
Wow.
Now, obviously, the MLS is nothing compared to insert any pro league, over where you guys are. But I thought that was pretty good, being about half the viewership of a very internationally recognized sport And I'm
Yeah.
just wondering, like, did that resonate at all, or is that just such a very American thing?
Yeah, so in our disc golf community, I would say it did. It's made my list of the recap for October.
Fair enough.
So we were aware of it going on, but we understood that it was a big deal for the sport. But I don't think any of us really had a frame of reference for what ESPN2 is as such.
I see.
We don't get ESPN2. We do get ESPN, but it's not. ESPN is kind of our generic US sports channel that kind of gets
Sure.
a mashup of all the US sports on it, and it didn't get the disc golf. But it was possible to watch if you found a slightly dodgy online stream. But I've watched the ESPN2 coverage and I thought it was great. But it wasn't sort of mainstream here, and a lot of people won't have had the chance to see it because it was on at 3 a.m. for us. So
Certainly. Yeah.
Um,
Kind of like how we get Sky Sports, for example. Just remembering when I've been to like Australia and New Zealand, but it's not like as ubiquitous as it is there. We just kind of get the one stream, like you're saying.
yeah,
So
for sure.
yeah, I mean, for us, ESPN2 is it's good. It's been around long enough that it's a recognized entity. It's obviously not as good as being on the main ESPN channel, but it's worked itself into a high quality channel. Compared to CBS Sports that you
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, it's still way above
Much
where
bigger deal,
CBS
yeah.
Sports is on the priority list. So
Yeah, I think what was telling for me was that I follow Reddit quite a lot, and the Reddit chat over there when it was on CBS Sports, there was a lot of, well, what is CBS Sports and where can I find it? Whereas when it was ESPN2, everyone has ESPN2. There was no real
Yeah.
there was no real
It's
what
bundled.
is that? Yeah.
when you're buying cable, ESPN2 is bundled if you get ESPN. So
Yeah, we don't
It's
really
coming.
we don't really quite get channels the same way over here. You don't really put together a cable package or anything. We just get Sky or not, really.
oh, you're
So-
lucky because we're going away from that here. We don't want you pay for 70 channels, but you pay way too much money and you're not going to watch 65 of them. So, hey, we're on the internet. That's the future, right?
That is the future. We've got so much more to talk about, and we're already over time, Jamie. So I'm going to crack through November and December because we just
All
had
right.
them. We don't really need a recap, do we? We had British Championships over here where we had on the MPO side we had James Luton win. He was a TD, so that was why that was cool. And my rating went up to 890. That was my my big achievement for November. It then promptly went back down to 870, but I did hit 890 for a month, so we'll take that. And then December we've had our giveaway, which is where I was supposed to plug that, but we already did, so I can just skip through that and we can move straight on to the 2020 Don't Shoot Players of the Season, which is one of the things I've been excited about. Some people are still here, really quite a lot of you actually, so thanks for hanging out, everybody. But yeah, so Don't Shoot Players of the Season is not going to be who was the best player this season. It was who was the player who's made the biggest splash this season. And I'm going to do a top three, but give the prize to one person. I'm going to do for the UK, for male and female, and for the Pro Tour for male and female as well. So it'll be interesting to see Jamie's feedback, Jamie's opinion on what I have to say about the Pro Tour. So in the UK, the top three, I'm going to start with third place. And third place is going to be Noah Smithson, friend of the show, one of my friends. Noah had a good season. He had a lot of schoolwork, so he didn't manage to play all the big events, especially with all the COVID stuff going on. But he got his rating up into the 970s, which is cool to see. Second place, and he's still only 16, I think, so or 17. So that's pretty cool. Of course, James Luton taking second place. He'll be happy to be above Noah in my poll, I'm sure. Really, just for the achievement of TDing 2 tournaments in a year full of hard decisions for TDs and winning one of them. So James Luton second place. But I'm going to give the prize for the person who's made the biggest splash to Jamie Matthews. Jamie, this was his first sort of full season playing disc golf. He started last year, but this was his first full year. He's moved up to MPO. He's made his rating into the 900s. I think he's 920 something. He's been playing really well at tournaments. He's been starting a YouTube channel, making some really cool rounds, including previews of tournament layouts. And yeah, he's taken the British scene a little bit by storm, and I'm sure he's going to make some lead cards of tournaments next year as he keeps getting better. So my UK male player of the season is Jamie Matthews.
Yeah, it looks like he in about a year and a half made his rating go up about 100 points, so that's
Pretty
a
sweet.
quality improvement right there.
Yeah,
Way
definitely.
to go, Jamie.
Definitely. I'm really excited to see how his YouTube stuff goes as well, because it's really good quality. So looking forward to that. And on the female side in the UK, taking third place on my Player of the Season rankings is Amanda, member of this community. Awesome to see Amanda start playing start playing UK Tour events. You can tell that I've nearly finished my bottle of mulled wine.
Cheers.
But yeah, Amanda taking third place. Really great to see her playing in her first season. New player, never played disc golf before, but great to see her at tournaments and seeing her take down the win at the Quarry Park tournament last weekend in the driving rain, with a big smile on her face and a new Grip G Series bag. Loving the sport. So Amanda, and then second place, I know a lot of people will be expecting me to put her first, is Rachel Turton from Scotland. The girl I was telling you about earlier, she's going to do big things in the UK scene on the female side for sure. She's probably going to be the best player we've ever had in a few years, I would guess, and maybe up there for some tournaments travelling into Europe. But yeah, she's stormed onto the scene. She's playing really well. She's doing some good ambassador stuff as well. She's on Team Ace Disc Golf this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if she's one of the first UK players to get an international sponsorship. It's my personal guess, because I know that brands like Discmania are currently looking for female players. So
hey, 2 wins in 3 career events ain't too bad of a start.
not too bad at all. But the 2020 Don't Shoot Female Player of the Season is someone who's never played a single disc golf event, never played a single tournament. This is Carol Finley. She has started the UK Bag Tag League. She's got involved on the BDGA committee. She's making things happen for equality in the sport, and she's putting a huge amount of time into all the things she's doing. And she's doing an awesome job. And she's in her 60s now. She's just had her birthday, and it's great to see a different demographic to what you'd normally see. Really making a difference in the disc golf scene. So I think clearly this year's female player of the season is Carol Finley, and I'm really excited to see all the things she does, and we're going to have her on the show in the new year. So
well, cheers to Carol. She actually sent me a very nice message after I was on the show last time, so I got to message back and forth with her for a minute over Facebook. So that's awesome to see.
awesome.
And again, 32 women in the bag tag for next year. So cool.
Yeah, really cool. So yeah, cheers, Carol. So Carol and Jamie are my players of the season. I've got a little something for you both. So that will need to get organised and delivered, but I will message you at some point. So congrats. And over on the Pro Tour side, I don't have a little something for these guys because they don't need it.
No, they're fine.
You'll realise why they don't need it. I'm going to do second place and first place. And this is biggest splash this year. So on the female side, second place, somewhat controversially, going to Paige Pierce. She dominated.
Okay.
She dominated a lot of stuff, but she's won enough things this year. She doesn't need to win my Don't Shoot. Disc Golf Pro Tour Player of the Season. So the winner can be nobody else apart from Hailey King. It's got to be Hailey King because of her amazing performance in the Pro Tour finale. Getting the visibility on ESPN2, getting her new Discraft contract, always having a smile on her face on every interview she's ever done, and being really personable. And if you haven't heard it, her interview on her interview on your show, Jamie, in fact, I think that's where it was. Right
It was
after
a really good interview.
it was such
really
a good
enjoyed
interview,
that one.
and yes, if you haven't heard the Upshot interview right after she won, go check that one out, and you will understand why I picked Hailey King to be my winner.
Yeah, that was one of I would say top 3 interviews of the year that we've done.
Agreed.
But hey, it was awesome. And I'm like 1A, 1B on player of the year by just like making the splash, as you're saying. I'm gonna put in the 1B spot. We'll give the 1A nod to Hailey because of everything you just said. 1B, I'm gonna put Heather Young in that category.
Yeah.
Not just because she's a lefty, but because she's also a very young player. Haha, pardon the pun. But I think same age as Hailey, maybe a year younger.
Yeah.
I mean, these two, the H's, Haley and Heather, you got to watch out for them on the FPO scene over the next few years. It's the future. The future greatness in the division is now on the course.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens next year and if they can start ticking regular wins off a page. So
they're going to challenge her more for sure. I mean, it's pretty clear that now Haley's not going to be, because we saw at Green Mountain Championship. I won't go too far down the rabbit hole here, but we saw her struggle a little bit. We saw her on the Silver Series, the Silver Cup, in fact, just struggle down the stretch to like close the round out and get the victory. And you might even go so far as to say she should have won both of those events. But then when the lights were brightest, when the purse was the biggest, and when you're in a playoff where there's literally nobody else, it went from 4 to just Haley, I almost said Heather, and the greatest player of all time in the division, and she made that putt to win it. Come on. This is greatness in the making right now, folks. You gotta love it.
Yeah. Anybody who doesn't watch FPO, you're missing out, and you should watch next year for sure. Absolutely. So moving on to the men. The 2020 Don't Shoot Player of the Season runners-up. There's two. It's a tie, and they're for very different reasons. So I'm going to say that Calvin Heimberg and Kale Leviska are the tied runners-up. And my justifications for this is Calvin absolutely shredded. He made his way into the 1040s. He looked easy doing so. He is ice in his veins when he's putting for the win, and it's really cool to see. And it's his first full year on tour with his university stuff behind him, and exciting to see what that young man can keep doing. Kale, probably not somebody you were expecting me to mention, but for me, the Preserve Championships were an incredible event, and to put that on right after COVID, to be able to run that as the second tournament back, I think. At the Preserve, Kale transformed that course in so little time and ran an amazing event. And there was so much praise from so many people in the sport for the things he managed to achieve. And for me, that was the point where I realised that the Disc Golf Pro Tour were really going to be able to do it. I can't give Jess Spring Player of the Season, otherwise I would, because he's not a player, not on the Pro Tour. But that's why I've given that to Kale as the runners-up spot.
I love it, and I love that you're hyping tournament directors and people that are putting on events on these lists, because it really is like these people are the unsung heroes of the sport, in my opinion. Man, the Preserve is going to be a special course. Just give it a handful of years, let him tweak, let some of the stuff grow in, let it get out of its golf roots and into its disc golf home. Oh, that's going to be one of the better courses in the whole United States. I have no doubt.
I'm excited. I'm really excited to see. So, but that wasn't my winner. My winner is Mr. Kevin Jones. And
okay.
I think that Kevin has real superstar potential. I don't think many players in disc golf have superstar potential, but I think Kevin is who you want to be the poster boy for disc golf. I think he's got an athletics background. He presents himself well on camera. He's good on social media. He's funny. He is incredibly talented, and he does cool things on camera, like acing a 500-foot hole and winning one of the biggest tournaments of the year. So, really, I think the disc golf world is Kevin Jones's oyster right now, and if he works hard and keeps improving, then we could be looking at disc golf's next superstar. I wouldn't be surprised if he was the next one getting the $1 million contract like Macbeth, and it's going to be cool to see.
Kevin, when you mentioned his name, I was like, man, over Paul, well, you did say Calvin in the tie or in the runner-up spot, but over Eagle as well. And then you started mentioning the way he found his breakthrough. He wasn't in the 2 wins on tour pack that we talked about, but he did find a way on ESPN. He did he is a talented guy, and it's kind of interesting because that's the way he broke into the scene. It was a 2017 USDGC, I believe, and all of a sudden we're like, who is this guy out of Arkansas? He's throwing pro discus, which I think most Americans are just like, yeah, that's some Finnish company. Ooh. And he put pro discus on the map.
He did.
Sarah Hokum as well. Let's give Sarah Hokum all the credit in the world, because I don't think anybody would know what the Jokery is without Hokum throwing it as much as she did. But yeah, I mean, Kevin Jones, we've been waiting for him to have these kind of breakouts. We've been waiting for him to follow up and capitalize on the potential that we've all seen in him. And I think he's as well positioned as anybody going into 2021 when we get out to Vegas in February. He's as well positioned as anybody to make the 2021 season his spotlight and his showcase, maybe in the way Heimberg has done in the last year and a half.
Absolutely. I think Kevin Jones is really the one to watch, and I think he could be, it's a bit of a bold prediction, but I think he could easily be the first person to sort of transcend disc golf as a disc golf celebrity and become sort of almost towards a real celebrity, because I think he's the kind of person who could do that. It might be too early for that in disc golf's evolution cycle. It might be that Kevin Jones is 5 years, 10 years too early for that, but I think when somebody does, and you start seeing disc golf athletes sponsored by Nike in magazines or on TV ads or whatever, it will be someone in the mold of Kevin Jones, is my personal opinion.
I really can't argue with you, and there's a little bit of the economic factor into it here. You've got to consider that Macbeth, Wysocki, a couple other players like that, their market value is already more known, and they're already commanding big contracts. So if you had a sort of like outside of the sport sponsor really come in, like a Nike, and no slight to Adidas Terex dabbled with disc golf for a couple years there. If Nike came in, Kevin Jones would be a pretty good pickup because of just the fact that he played Division One, or maybe not Division One. Sorry, he played collegiate football, American football.
Yeah.
And that fact alone holds so much sway in the minds of the average American that, like, just being able to sell that. I played football, the most, mainstream popular sport in the U.S., the highest television contract sport in the U.S., and I chose disc golf. That's going to resonate with people.
For sure. And you even just the way he kind of carries himself, you can tell he's an athlete, which you don't get from every disc golfer. So I think in terms of marketability, that's a really big point.
Undoubtedly.
So yeah, those are our winners. Congrats to Jamie and Carol, and congrats, I'm sure they will never hear of this, to Haley King and Kevin Jones.
I'll make sure they know. You have my word. At some point, I'm going to make sure they know.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, Jamie, that's it for the 2020 recap. We're already half an hour over time. I knew I was going to go on talking this evening, and I am pretty much done with my wine. But yeah, let's talk very quickly 2021. Give me your number one thing you want people to look forward to, Disc Golf Pro Tour wise 2021.
I don't want to be cliche, but truly, I hope that we get the international competition again. It was so exciting. You mentioned it at the top of the segment where Evelina and Henna were second and third at Memorial. Evelina comes out and wins Waco, and they have to literally put their touring plans on hold, go back home. We never see them again. We didn't see Kristen Tatar. We didn't see Albert Tom. We didn't see Vino Makela. There's so many players that we're looking forward to here in the U.S. I do think the climate is changing. And just in general, that will also signal that a lot of the ugliness of COVID is behind us, at least for the most part. So that's my biggest hope for 2021. I'm extremely excited for the Pro Tour and the network having so many more contracts. I'm excited that the PDGA is trusting the network and the tour to handle these shows and to showcase some of the most prestigious events in the sport. And, I'm honestly just glad people are buying in. I know it's a paywall and a subscription, and that's hard to stomach for some. But it's proving that the players that we're covering are worth it. They're worth that low buy-in for the skills and the dedication to the game that they're showing. So, and I mean, a little generic, but that's where I'm at.
And it's not just that, right? It's not just the players. It's also the broadcast package and you guys and what you're putting on and doing. And I think you could arguably say the product that was being put out for Live Disc Golf in 2018 or 2019 wasn't worth paying however much per month or whatever the cost is these days.
Sure.
But I think having seen what you guys managed to put on in 2020 in a season which was affected by social distancing, by restrictions and all of that, it was incredible. And to me, it was easily worth what I was paying. I think I paid £4 something a month. And yeah, like I haven't cancelled my subscription this off season because I haven't watched any of those Golf Network since the last tournament. But to me, I signed up for a year's entertainment, and I got that. So like, why would I cancel it? So to me, it's easily worth it, and I'm really excited for what you guys put on next year.
Well, thank you, first of all, for the very kind words. I mean, I feel like it has a lot to do with the 7 world championships that sit next to me between Nate and Val, and having Mahmood, who's the producer in my ear, who was at ESPN for a number of years, and
Sure.
is now with the Disc Golf Network, and it's a total team effort. That's the first thing I want to say. And second of all, thank you for keeping your subscription through the off season, because if you and your audience haven't heard, we are in the process of building a studio. So hopefully in the future, the booth, as we call it, myself, Nate, Val, and whoever we bring on here in the next few months, and the studio, Johnny V of Smashbox and Mahmood and some other players, Gary to the O, some other people we're going to hire, we're all going to be in the same place. And so that's going to solve a lot of technical issues. That's also going to allow us to hopefully create more types of content. So the spoiler or the look ahead here is, if you're a Disc Golf Network subscriber, we're going to be doing more types of shows in the near future. So you, just the example you gave, you keeping your subscription through the off season, that's an investment in what's going to come forward. So we hope to make you and everybody else very proud with that.
Oh, yeah. That's given me so many ideas of the kind of shows you could have. I want like a breakfast show, and I want a panel show, and I want a post game analysis show with a big TV and dragging and dropping and stuff. There you go.
Shoot me a message, man. Shoot me a messenger. Let's chat over this off season.
Let's do it. I'm excited. That sounds amazing. So for me, I've got one Pro Tour one and one personal one. Personally, I'm excited to run my first tournament next year.
Congrats.
We're gonna have a Kaspos Berg only unsanctioned event. More details coming next year, but that's gonna be my first TDE experience, I think, and hopefully I can do a couple. And from a Pro Tour, I'm excited to see some of the sponsorship changes that are being announced. That's always a cool thing for me. I always like transfer season in football, soccer. I really appreciate
the hot
all
stove,
that.
as we call it in the US.
Yes, the hot stove. And I'm personally very excited about James Conrad, because I'm a big MVP fanboy, and it's very strongly rumored that that's going to be a done deal. So
I was about to say, we can say it out loud. It's rumored.
I don't think it's official yet, but I've got a friend who is somewhat convincing, and I've got confirmed sighting of him throwing MVP discs from someone on Reddit. So
here's what I'll say.
We're close.
And I said this on the Upshot this week. If you see a player in the off season and they post one of those really nice photos that like Alyssa Van Lenen or Stu Mullenberg or Local Router or any of the other photographers took, and you can't visibly see their sponsor, and it's around this time of year,
pretty good sign.
Start reading some tea leaves there.
Yeah, and also, I'm fairly sure I saw James Conrad post on Facebook and Instagram this week, and I'm fairly sure I haven't seen that before, so...
yeah, like first time in 2 years.
Yeah, so yeah, things going on there. And another exciting one that was announced tonight. You wouldn't have talked about this on your show yet, I don't think.
No, we recorded yesterday.
Yeah, Thomas Gilbert has announced that he is leaving Innova, which is...
Big surprise.
Which is, yeah, I was surprised. And... I was hopeful that another one of my favourite brands would pick him up, but apparently it's not confirmed, but very strongly rumoured that he's going to Prodigy. So
wow, Prodigy making a lot of moves lately too.
So if they pick up him, then that would be a cool addition to their team, because they just had a 1-2 finish at the Pro Tour finale, I believe. So
done very well. I mean, they've kind of dominated the Pro Tour Championship the last couple of years that it's been at Hornets Nest between Katrina and Chris and Kevin, and so yeah, Thomas Gilbert.
Yeah,
this guy you got to watch out for.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. I have to confess, I'm not a huge fan of Prodigy Plastic personally, but I very much respect what the pros are able to do with it, and Dickerson winning his US champs with it kind of it's a real thing. So
yeah, I mean, once you get to that level, it's really almost you could take a dinner plate, and at least cash that weekend. But
sure.
You know, it's impressive. It's just impressive what these players can do, especially when they switch sponsors and they go to a completely different company that has a different philosophy on how to make discs, and they find a way to tailor it to what they do best on the course.
Yeah, Paige Pierce being able to just come out throwing completely different plastic and looking exactly like she'd missed 0 seconds of the off season was incredible to me.
No doubt.
She's the real deal, that Paige Pierce girl.
Yep. Yeah. Breaking news if you haven't heard of Paige Pierce here.
Yeah. Cool. Well, 40 minutes over time. Not too bad. Thank you so much to everyone who's sticking with us in chat, and thank you so much to Jamie for joining us. Everyone who's commented on the thing tonight will be in the giveaway. Go find my Facebook post, donate to charity, do all the things, Instagram, to get more entries. The draw will be live on Sunday night, and we'll get some prizes posted out after Christmas. And Jamie, thank you so much for joining me. I've had a great time.
So much fun. Let's do it again next year. Look forward to it.
Yeah, let's do it. And thanks everybody in chat for all the support this year. It's been a great first year of the podcast. Here's to next year. Have a good night, everybody.